Welcome to Friday night's video in our Master Series. This is the 40th video in our Master Series, and the 10th video in our first phase processing sound sculpting step in our signal processing, our first phase processing. So in this video, we're going to talk about automation a little bit. Sometimes we talked about in the last video about using a harmonizer to boost some frequency content that you're having an issue with. Well, if it worked as subtractive EQ, which you can fuss with it and you might be able to get it to do that, there's also automation of equalization. So you can attenuate and boost frequencies with automation because you've got a fundamental and then trailing harmonics, and as the guy sings around, it moves around. So you may or may not be able to use standard equalization work to fix that problem because you will be affecting other harmonics you don't want to. So basically what I'll do is I'll take a section. You have that test sample to work with that you got, that one note or something like that, and is maybe some other notes, high or low notes, that you can find problem frequencies to figure out what you're doing. Then I'll take a section out of the performance itself, put it on another track, and I will go through it, and I'll loop a small section after I've slowed down the audio, either with the speed up abilities and slow down abilities of the DAW, or just slowing down the tempo of the DAW. Once the automation's set and you speed it back up, it should fall into place with whatever tempo it's set, so that shouldn't be a problem. But you can sit here and go through this and then just loop this audio. I've got it slowed way down. We're just going to pretend it's the fundamental. So if I'm just doing the fundamental, I've got automation set up on that parameter. So there's automation abilities. It's on latch. And then I'm going to go to the beginning of this, and I'm going to follow this problem frequency around. So I've got it right there. Now that automation, I adjusted the gain also, but on there you'll be able to see that should be the low frequency there, and you can see the automation work that was done on that. Now if I loop that back and play it, you should be able to see this node move around. This node's going to follow that around. So basically at this point, then I want to stop that. I want to bring this back up to speed, whatever the speed was, and then let's say I wanted to attenuate that. So I'd come back over here where it is to start with. Let's say I'm going to attenuate it that much. And it's pretty far away from the other harmonics, so I'm not worried about it having a little bit of Q on it. That'll be okay. And then I'm going to play it through there at the normal speed. Does that make sense? Now it's repeating and going over, but the automation is following it. Now with this going on, that you can basically fix serious problems, and you can get real surgical also. If you go into here and you've got problem harmonics up in here, you've got some harmonic like this one right here is just way too loud for some parts of it, and you want to attenuate that harmonic a little bit, that you can get real specific and real surgical about either boosting those harmonics or attenuate or boosting or attenuating those harmonics. Because sometimes if you get in here and you're going like, well, I showed you in one of the other videos that if you have like instrument frequency content, like you've got this vocal here, that the content in it, that you look at the frequencies inherent in that at that certain point. Now those can be fluctuating and changing, but if you've got one certain frequency that's causing a problem, that that level of that frequency is going to change this whole sound of the whole sound envelope. And it's, depending on where the frequency is, how much it's going to affect it. And sometimes you'll have like, you've got, the first octave up, that's like the fourth harmonic or the second harmonic or third harmonic, that you're going to have to boost or subtract it or boost it because of its level. Otherwise, the vocalist doesn't sound right. You'll notice how you hear some vocalists and they sound great and some don't sound as good, or you don't like them as much because of the harmonic content in their voice. Of all the things we've talked about included in their voice, but harmonics are one of the biggest components in the sound. So with that type of automation EQ, you can do that. You can do a really good job of that. And you can also, if you're going to do it to other frequencies, you can say edit the automation of that frequency. So you're going to have more than one. You can go back to here, take this automation, command copy it, and then you can go to this other one that you're going to work on, and you can command paste that. And well, it's off a little bit here, but that doesn't really matter because you can just drag it over, match it up, and then once you've got it matched up, then just start bringing it up, looking at the oscilloscope until that node on this equalizer is following that one at whatever level up above it, so that it'll follow it. And then it'll follow the same automation so that it follows the voice around wherever it's going to attenuate or boost any frequencies that you're having issues with. Because once it's following the automation, then you can just boost it. You can boost it or lower it or whatever you want to follow that frequency around of that harmonic to attenuate or boost it. That's real surgical stuff, but it's great tools and it's great for experimentation, because sometimes that can just be with sounds or something really simple. And it can really, you've got even a choir that you've got 3 or 4 people going, ah, yeah, right, and there's 1 or 2 frequencies just in that little chorus section that it's a problem, and you go attenuate it and follow it around instead of doing the EQ work like I'll show you the type of EQ work that's normal equalization work that we'll talk to when we get to that step. But that's surgical sound sculpting stuff, and it can do magic wonders. There's lots of different ways to do that. You can experiment around. Maybe you got some tools that'll do it different, or your DAW's got some tools that'll do it different. But it's huge sound sculpting tools to try to change the sound into what you want it to sound like. So peace, hope, love. I hope you enjoyed this video on equalization automation, and I will see you in the next video.